would like to welcome you to a short presentation of the key findings of our new 2022 State of Fashion report. We take a look at the current year and, more importantly, we take an outlook to the year to come.
When we look back at 2020, it's a sobering reminder that the industry took a significant hit to top line during the pandemic, falling around 20% relative to 2019 levels as stores shut down and deep uncertainty was reflected in consumer shopping behavior. Behind these numbers was clearly a different picture by region. Europe and US both dropped by 20 and 22% respectively as pandemic lockdowns took their toll. In China, the drop in 2020 was much less severe, of around 7% relative to 2019 levels, as lockdowns were short and the economy recovered more rapidly. We have seen signs of recovery in 2021, particularly in the US, where the phenomenon of revenge shopping causes spikes in growth, and in luxury, which has overall remained more robust. And as we look ahead to 2022, we predict a year of growth in the year to come.
Up until now, 2016 was always the worst year for the fashion industry since the financial crisis. 2020 turned out exceptionally bad. It was down minus 190% in economic profit, driven by significantly lower revenues and the inability of the industry to adjust their cost structures. EBIT margins declined massively. They were only 6.8% compared to the long-term average of 10 to 11%. So the pandemic had a real hit on the industry. All of this together meant that economic profit turned steeply negative. The decline was much worse than what we anticipated in last year's report. We were expecting to see a drop of 93% of the market when we made our projections in September. The year turned out to be much more devastating. High consumer confidence and a bullish stock market in September were followed by a winter of lockdowns, strong second waves and a significant hit to the retail market. We have reason to be optimistic about the return to positive economic profit in 2021. Half-year results have been significantly better and partially better than 2019 levels. However, we are cautious to make predictions on full-year economic profit given the uncertainty pending in the last 2 quarters. Supply chain issues are very obvious to everybody, and that might also hit profits.
This will, of course, have an impact on winners and losers in this industry. For many years, we have seen that the number of value destroyers in the fashion industry is on the rise. Value creation is increasingly concentrated among the few. Since 2011, the industry has shifted from a value-creating majority to a value-destroying majority. This trend continued and accelerated in 2019 and 2020. The share of value destroyers is estimated to be a record 69% of listed companies in 2020. The story has historically been winners take all. However, in 2020, it shifted to a story of value destruction that dragged down the entire industry.
The winner-takes-all trend in the past has created a group of so-called super winners. Our latest group of these winners reflects the resilience of luxury and the spectacular growth of sportswear. So who is on the list? The names on the super winners list were relatively consistent with our report in 2019. Shifts within the super winner lists reflect the needs of consumers during the pandemic, including sportswear, casual, homeware, and for some luxury. Luxury and sportswear segments have consistently contributed a large share of positive economic profit to the fashion industry, individually contributing some 20% of economic profit among value creators every year in the past 5 years. Consumers' lifestyles were drastically altered through the pandemic, causing lumpy seasonal purchases characterized by irregular spikes and lulls of activity, such as surging demand for athletic wear and loungewear.
And now, for the most anticipated part of the State of Fashion 2022, the 10 themes that will define the industry in the year ahead. With the industry outlook in mind, the themes reflect 5 priorities that the fashion industry will need to pursue in 2021. Firstly, securing the recovery. As we discussed in the beginning, we expect growth to return in 2022, with the industry set to recover to 3 to 8% above 2019 levels. However, This growth will be patchy, with significant differences across countries and value segments, driven by government, fiscal and health responses to recovery from the pandemic. Other macroeconomic considerations will continue to shape the industry's recovery, with the most important being supply chains. 87% of executives we surveyed said this will be a critical challenge for the year ahead, and we expect to continue to see rising costs, shipping delays and material shortages. Companies must rethink their sourcing strategies whilst implementing cutting-edge supply chain management and building in greater resilience and flexibility to keep products flowing with consumer demand in the year ahead. Secondly, players in the fashion industry will need to follow the new shape of demand. Our next two themes in the consumer section explore how the pandemic has permanently changed shopping behavior. In luxury, changing travel patterns have shifted the shape of supply, and an industry that typically relied on significant purchases by travelers overseas. We have seen the rise of shopping for luxury domestically, particularly in regions such as China and the Middle East. As barriers to domestic shopping, such as pricing and taxes, were overcome during the pandemic, this behavior is unlikely to shift back completely when travel returns. Luxury brands in particular will need to consider the localization of their offerings, ensuring reach both internationally and within key markets. We're also seeing tectonic shifts in category focus by shoppers as they rebalance and revamp their wardrobe amidst greater social freedoms outside the home. Occasion wear, formal wear, and new designs are taking more share of mind and basket, while shoppers dial down on some of the cozy comforts of the home they sought out in 2019. Thirdly, expanding into new digital frontiers. As fashion goes virtual and significant monetization opportunities arise through gaming, virtual collections and NFTs, brands need to start experimenting. This will force them to become content creators in the digital realm, much more so than before. Related is the rise of social commerce, particularly in the West, where social commerce remains behind the curve relative to China. As functionality grows, brands will start exploring how to leverage social commerce at the purchase end of the funnel. So these are some of the exciting consumer shifts that we expect.
Number 4, deliver on sustainability. Now is a critical time to act on climate change, and COP26 has galvanized governments and businesses alike into action. Technologies for closed-loop recycling of both cotton and blended textiles are finally reaching scale, with industrial proof points growing. For fashion circularity to be successful, companies will need to embed circular textiles into the design stage while adopting large-scale collection and sorting processes. Product passports, technologies which store and share information on products with consumers and value chain partners, will be a critical element in ensuring transparency and sustainability across the value chain. Number 5, shape capabilities and talent. With the growth of digital and hybrid working comes the risk of cybersecurity, which is now reaching top of the agenda for CEOs. Critical capabilities need to be built to protect brands, IP, and consumer data. Underpinning all of the themes is the ramp up in the war for talent, as vacancies across economies rise and competition for talent increases from other industries. Fashion as an employer needs to find its sparkle again, as willing talent now requires a deep sense of purpose, high ESG standards, and a clear growth opportunity.
We hope you enjoyed the short presentation of the 2022 State of Fashion report. As always, you can download the full report at businessoffashion.com and mckinsey.com. Thank you for your time.